Just stay here for a bit. We'll return soon, my family said at the airport, avoiding my eyes. I didn't argue, because deep down, I already knew they wouldn't come back. In 43 years of marriage, Helen and I never left anyone behind. Not at restaurants when someone needed the bathroom, not at gas stations when someone wanted snacks, definitely not at airports when someone was traveling with us. My children knew this too. Brian, Mary, and Branson grew up with Helen's iron rule. Family waits for family. She'd made us sit in parking lots for 20 minutes, waiting for stragglers. Made us miss movie previews because someone forgot their wallet. Made us late to everything because leaving people behind wasn't how the Walsh family operated. So when all three of my kids suddenly needed to grab dinner at different restaurants in different terminals, my stomach twisted with something that felt like dread. "We'll meet you back here in a few minutes, Dad." A few minutes. That phrase sat wrong in my mouth. Too casual, too convenient, too much like something you'd say when you had no intention of coming back. I watched them walk away in different directions. Brian toward Terminal A, Mary toward Terminal C, Branson toward the food court, all carrying small bags, all walking with purpose, all leaving their boarding passes on the chair next to me. 3 tickets to 3 different cities, all departing in 30 minutes, all without me. I sat down at gate B15 and realized I was about to learn exactly what a few minutes meant when your family had just stolen your life's work. But they were about to learn something too. They were about to learn what happens when you mistake a grieving father's kindness for stupidity. 5 days earlier, the invitation came from Mary. "Dad, we've planned a family reunion vacation. Vegas, all expenses paid, our treat." 18 months since Helen died. 18 months of quiet dinners alone, of holidays that felt like regular Tuesdays. When your children say they want to spend time with you, you don't ask questions. You just pack. The Bellagio suite costs $200 per night. Brian insisted on it. Nothing's too good for Dad after everything he's been through. Mary booked the restaurants. Prime Steakhouse, $180 per person, not including wine. Branson arranged the shows. Blue Man group tickets at $150 each. Front row. "We're celebrating life, Dad," Lindsay said over our first dinner. Brian's wife had tears in her eyes. "Celebrating family." Jackie, Mary's husband, raised his glass. "To Matthew Walsh, the man who built an empire and raised kids who appreciate it." The math was starting to worry me. $3,200 times 5 nights. Restaurants, shows, tips that cost more than most people's car payments. By day 3, I'd counted $195,000 in expenses. "How are you kids affording this?" I asked. Brian's startup had been struggling for 2 years. Mary's marketing agency lost 3 major clients last quarter. Branson just graduated law school with $180,000 in debt. "Don't worry about money, Dad," Mary smiled. "We've got it handled." That should have been my first warning, but grief makes you grateful for any sign that your children still need you, still want you around. When you're 64 and your wife of 38 years is gone, you'll believe any story that ends with "we love you." Even when the math doesn't add up. Even when every meal comes with too many questions about Walshcraft Industries. "How's the business doing, Dad? Still profitable? Ever think about retiring completely? What happens to the company when you're gone?" Questions wrapped in concern, delivered with perfect eye contact and concerned frowns. Helen always said I was too trusting. "Matthew, people don't always say what they mean." She was right about everything else. Why would this be different? On day 4, Brian brought a briefcase to breakfast. "Dad, we've been thinking, you built something incredible with Walshcraft, but running a business at your age after losing Mom? The stress could kill you." Mary nodded. "We worry constantly." Branson spread documents across the resort room table. "We consulted with estate lawyers. If something happens to you, the transfer process could take months. Tax complications, legal fees." The contract looked professional. Letterhead, signatures lines, legal jargon. "Transfer it now," Brian said, "while you're healthy, while you can guide the transition." Lindsay touched my shoulder. "This way you can finally relax, enjoy retirement." Travel. Jackie added, "We'll run everything exactly how you taught us." The numbers looked right. The legal language sounded convincing. My children stood around the table looking concerned, loving, responsible. 3 against 1. With Helen gone, who else did I have to ask? Who else could I trust? I need to think about it. "Of course, Dad," Mary said. "Take all the time you need." But the pressure was subtle, constant. Every conversation somehow circled back to the contract. Every meal included another reason why delay was dangerous. Every show, every dinner, every moment of paid-for luxury came with an unspoken price tag. Sign the papers. By morning 5, I was ready to sign. Not because I wanted to, because I was tired of feeling like a burden, because $195,000 spent on my happiness deserved something in return. Because when you're 64 and alone, you'll trade a business for the feeling that your children actually want you around, even when that feeling costs $2.6 million. The signing happened at 10:47 a.m. in the Bellagio's business center. Brian brought his lawyer, a sharp woman in a $2,000 suit who explained every clause with perfect diction. Standard transfer agreement, assets, liabilities, intellectual property. Mr. Walsh retains a 5% consulting fee for life. 5% of $2.6 million, $130,000 annually. More than enough to live comfortably. Your children will maintain operations exactly as established, the lawyer continued. This protects the company's legacy while ensuring family ownership. Mary sat to my left, holding my hand. "We'll make you proud, Dad." Branson filmed the signing with his phone. "Historic moment," he said. "Dad officially passing the torch." The pen felt heavier than it should have. Page 1. Matthew Walsh transfers all ownership rights. Page 2. Effective immediately upon signature. Page 3. Walsh Craft Industries LLC becomes property of Brian Walsh, Mary Walsh Miller, and Branson Walsh. Equal shares. 33.33% each. My hand shook slightly as I signed. "You okay, Dad?" Brian asked. "Just emotional," I said. 40 years in one signature. The lawyer notarized each page. Official stamps. Legal binding. At 11:23 a.m., Walshcraft Industries was no longer mine. "Celebration lunch?" Mary suggested. "Actually," Brian said, checking his phone, "there's been a change in plans." Lindsay looked nervous. "Change?" "Our flights got moved up. System error. We need to leave for the airport in an hour." I felt something cold settle in my stomach. "All of you?" "Unfortunately, yes," Branson said, not meeting my eyes. "Don't worry, Dad. Your flight's still tomorrow morning. The hotel room's paid through tonight." Jackie avoided eye contact. "We tried to change your ticket, but the airline wouldn't budge." 1 hour to pack 5 days of vacation. 1 hour to say goodbye to children who'd just inherited $2.6 million. The ride to McCarran Airport was quiet. Brian drove. Mary sat shotgun, texting constantly. Branson and Lindsay whispered in the back seat. Jackie scrolled through his phone, occasionally showing Mary something that made her smile. I sat behind the driver's seat, watching my children through the rearview mirror. Nobody looked back at me. At the airport, the chaos was choreographed. "Terminal A for us," Brian announced. "Terminal B for Dad." Different terminals, different airlines, different departure times. The goodbye hugs felt rushed, mechanical. "Thank you for an amazing vacation," I said. "Our pleasure, Dad," Mary replied, already looking towards the departure signs. "Call us when you get home," Branson said, checking his watch. Lindsay kissed my cheek. "Safe travels, Uncle Matthew." Uncle Matthew. Not Dad, not Grandpa. Uncle Matthew. They walked away in a group, laughing about something on Jackie's phone, already forgetting I existed. I found gate B-15 and sat down. My flight wasn't until 11:40 a.m. the next morning. 14 hours to kill in an airport. At 2:17 p.m., my phone battery hit 15%. At 2:45 p.m., it died completely. At 3:30 p.m., I noticed the boarding passes. 3 tickets, carelessly dropped on the chair next to mine. Brian's American Airlines to Denver, Mary's Southwest to Phoenix, Branson's United to Seattle, all departing at 4:15 p.m., same time. Same gate area, different destinations. They hadn't forgotten the tickets. They'd left them on purpose. At 4:10 p.m., I watched my children walk past my gate. Brian carried a small carry-on. Mary had her purse and a laptop bag. Branson wheeled a tiny suitcase. 5 days of luggage condensed into airport carry-ons. They'd never intended to check bags, never intended to stay, never intended to leave together. At 4:15 p.m., I watched 3 planes taxi away from 3 different gates. My children were gone. At 4:45 p.m., security found me still sitting with 3 boarding passes in my lap. "Sir, are you all right?" I showed them the tickets. "My family left these behind." "Would you like us to call them?" "I don't have their phone numbers memorized." The security guard looked confused. "They're your family." "Not anymore," I said. At 5:30 p.m., someone else's phone nearby buzzed with notifications. Messages from a group chat called Walsh Family 2025. I couldn't see the screen, but I heard the notifications. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At 7:15 p.m., the woman sitting 2 chairs over stepped away to take a call. Her phone stayed behind, screen still glowing. The group chat was open. Brian: "Holy shit, he actually signed everything." Mary: "2.6 million split 3 ways. Not bad for 5 days' work." Branson: "Celebration dinner at Prime Steakhouse. 8 p.m. sharp." Lindsay: "Should we feel bad about leaving him?" Jackie: "He'll figure it out eventually." Mary: "By then we'll have already liquidated the assets." Brian: "Dad always said business was business." Branson: "Celebration dinner without Grandpa. He'll never know what hit him." The woman returned for her phone. I sat back in my chair. Gate B15, abandoned boarding passes, a $2.6 million company transferred 4 hours ago, and children who celebrated my business like they'd just won the lottery, which I realized they had. 40 years ago, Walsh Craft Industries started in a rented garage in Henderson, Nevada. $2,800 in startup money, half of Helen's teacher salary, half from selling my grandfather's tools. The first year, I made 17 wooden kitchen tables, sold them for $85 each. Total revenue, $1,445. Helen ate peanut butter sandwiches for lunch so we could buy wood stain. I worked construction during the day, built furniture at night. 4 hours of sleep became normal. 6 hours felt like luxury. When Brian was born, I had $400 in the bank. When Mary came along 3 years later, I'd saved $2,200. When Branson arrived, we owned our first real workshop, a 200 square foot building with actual electrical outlets. Every milestone paid for with sacrifice. Brian's Little League uniforms, sold 2 dining room sets, Mary's ballet lessons, worked overtime framing houses for 6 months, Branson's college textbooks, took out a $15,000 business loan against future orders. Helen never complained. When Brian needed braces, she picked up summer school teaching. When Mary wanted art supplies, Helen sold her grandmother's jewelry. When Branson got accepted to law school, she postponed her own retirement by 5 years. "We're investing in their future," she'd say. She was right, of course. She was always right. By 2010, Walshcraft employed 12 people. Custom furniture orders from California to Colorado. Brian graduated college with a business degree. I hired him immediately at $65,000 per year, $20,000 above market rate. "Dad, this is too much," he said. "Family investment," I replied. "You're worth it." Mary finished her marketing degree 2 years later. I contracted her agency for all Walshcraft advertising, $40,000 annually in guaranteed work. "You don't have to do this," she insisted. "Of course I do. You're my daughter." Branson struggled with law school costs, $60,000 per year for 3 years. I covered it all. "I'll pay you back, Dad." "No need. Education is never debt when it's family." The sacrifices felt natural. Parents provide, children succeed. Simple mathematics. When Helen got sick in 2021, the medical bills started slowly. Specialist consultations, $1,500 each. Cancer treatments, $8,000 monthly. Experimental drugs not covered by insurance, $25,000 total. I liquidated Walshcraft's emergency fund. $180,000 disappeared in 8 months. Brian was building his startup, no spare money. Mary's agency was struggling, lost 3 clients to larger firms. Branson was studying for the bar exam, no income. "We'll figure it out after I pass the test," he promised. I never asked them for help. Helen wouldn't have wanted them stressed about money while dealing with her illness. "Take care of the children first," she said during her final week. "They need stability." She died owing $340,000 in medical debt. I paid every bill. Sold Helen's car, $35,000. Liquidated our retirement account, $220,000. Took a business loan against Walshcraft, $85,000. The kids attended the funeral with flowers that cost $400 each. Custom arrangements, Helen's favorite colors. "Dad shouldn't pay for everything," Brian said. "We can handle the funeral costs." But they didn't. The $18,000 funeral bill came to me. I paid it without question. After Helen's death, the loneliness was manageable. Work helped. Customers needed furniture. Employees needed paychecks. Purpose continued. But family dinners became monthly phone calls. Monthly calls became holiday texts. Holiday texts became occasional messages. "How are you, Dad? Staying busy with work? Let us know if you need anything." I never needed anything. Parents don't need. Parents provide. When Brian's startup needed capital, I invested $150,000. No questions asked. When Mary's agency lost the Henderson School District contract, I hired her for Walshcraft marketing at double her usual rate. When Branson failed the bar exam twice, I paid for a $12,000 prep course. Each investment felt like Helen's ghost nodding approval. Take care of the children first. But somehow taking care became taking advantage. $150,000 became Dad's contribution to Brian's success. $40,000 annual marketing became what Mary deserves for family loyalty. $12,000 bar prep became the least Dad can do. Investments became expectations. Generosity became obligation. Love became leverage. The Vegas vacation made perfect sense in retrospect. 5 days of expensive appreciation, $195,000 spent to soften resistance. Prime dinners, front row shows, luxury suites, all leading to a single contract signature, all leading to 10:47 a.m. in a business center, all leading to Gate B15 with 3 abandoned boarding passes. Helen's voice echoed in my memory. "Matthew, people don't always say what they mean." For 40 years, I thought she meant strangers. I never imagined she meant family. At 8:30 p.m., I found the business card, stuck behind my credit cards, wrinkled from months in my wallet. Tracy Walsh, attorney at law, Morrison and Associates. My brother Robert's daughter, 28 years old, corporate law specialist. The last time we'd spoken was Helen's funeral. She'd flown in from Canada specifically for the service. "Uncle Matthew, if you ever need anything, call me. Family takes care of family." Real family, I thought now, not business associates wearing relative masks. I borrowed a phone charger from airport security and found a quiet corner near the United Airlines customer service desk. Tracy answered on the second ring. "Uncle Matthew, what's wrong?" I told her everything. The vacation, the contract, the boarding passes, the group chat messages. She listened without interruption. "They left you at the airport?" "Gate B15, McCarran Terminal." "After you signed over $2.6 million? "Signed this morning. Notarized and legal." Silence on her end. Then, "Uncle Matthew, are you someplace safe right now?" "Airport terminal, security guards everywhere." "Good. Don't move. Don't call them. Don't send emails or texts." Her voice shifted into lawyer mode, professional, focused. What they did was elder exploitation, possibly criminal. "They're my children, Tracy. That makes it worse, not better." She explained duress law, emotional manipulation, undue influence. Expensive vacation followed by immediate transfer demands, textbook coercion case. The Nevada revised statutes allow 72-hour cooling periods for major asset transfers involving seniors. You're 64. The transfer amount exceeds $100,000. You have grounds for immediate nullification. Can we actually stop this? Uncle Matthew, I can have that contract voided by Monday morning. She gave me her Canada Law Office address. Come stay with me. We'll file paperwork first thing Monday. I don't want to impose. You're not imposing. You're family. The word sounded different when Tracy said it. Genuine, unconditional. What about a hotel for tonight? Airport hotels cost $300. You'll spend money you need for legal fees. I can afford... Uncle Matthew, family takes care of family. No arguments. At 10:15 p.m., I caught the last flight to Canada. $340 for a last-minute ticket. Money I could have saved if my children hadn't abandoned me. Money I wouldn't have needed to spend if family actually meant family. During the 2-hour flight, I made a list. What Brian said, Dad deserves this vacation. What Brian meant, Dad deserves to be manipulated. What Mary said, will make you proud. What Mary meant, will liquidate everything immediately. What Branson said, historic moment. What Branson meant, historic theft. What Lindsay said, safe travels, Uncle Matthew. What Lindsay meant, good riddance. What Jackie said, nothing's too good for Dad. What Jackie meant, nothing's too good for us. 40 years of providing, 40 years of sacrifice, 18 months of grief and loneliness, 5 days of manipulation disguised as love. One contract signature worth $2.6 million, abandoned at an airport like luggage nobody wanted to claim. Tracy met me at Canada International at 12:45 a.m. She looked exactly like Robert. Same stubborn jawline, same intelligent eyes. Uncle Matthew, we're going to fix this. What if they've already liquidated assets? Then they've committed fraud, which makes our case stronger. She drove me to her apartment. Small but clean, law books everywhere. Guest room's yours as long as you need it. I don't want charity. This isn't charity, this is justice. She made coffee at 1:30 a.m. We spread the Walshcraft transfer contract across her kitchen table. Look at Clause 7, she said. Immediate asset liquidation upon transfer. What does that mean? They can sell everything Monday morning. Equipment, inventory, customer contracts, all of it. How long do we have? Legally? 72 hours from signature to file duress claims. I checked my phone. 1:47 a.m. Saturday morning. Signature time, 10:47 a.m. Friday. We had until 10:47 a.m. Monday. 33 hours to save 40 years of work. What do we need to do? Tracy smiled. It was Helen's smile. Determined. Uncompromising. We're going to teach your children what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness. How? By letting them hang themselves with their own greed. She opened her laptop. First thing Monday, we file papers. But tonight, we prepare for war. This is business now, I said quietly. Exactly. And Uncle Matthew? Yes? You're about to remember how good you are at business. Monday, 6 Honkem. Tracy had coffee ready and legal documents spread across her dining room table, like battle plans. Nevada Revised Statute 41.1395, she said, pointing to a highlighted section. Elder Financial Exploitation. Automatic 72-hour cooling period for asset transfers exceeding $100,000. Will it hold up? Uncle Matthew, they literally abandoned you at an airport after taking your company. A first-year law student could win this case. We filed electronically at 6:47 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Petition for Emergency Asset Protection, case number 2025 CV00891. How long until they know? Court clerk will call them by 10 a.m. Nevada time. What happens then? Tracy's smile was sharp, professional. Panic. At 7:30 a.m., I called Walshcraft Industries from Tracy's landline, my own company, 40 years of work, now technically belonging to children who'd traded family for money. Walshcraft Industries, this is Brian, my oldest son, taking calls at my desk, using my business line. This is Matthew Walsh. Silence. Then, Dad, where are you? We've been trying to call. Lying came naturally to him now. I'm fine, Brian. Your flight got canceled. We were worried sick. More lies, smooth delivery. I made other arrangements. Where are you staying? We'll pick you up. That won't be necessary. Dad, you sound angry. What's wrong? I looked at Tracy. She nodded encouragement. I saw the group chat messages, Brian. Long pause. What group chat? Walsh Family 2025. Celebration dinner without Grandpa. 2.6 million split 3 ways. Longer pause. Dad, I don't know what you think you saw. I know exactly what I saw. There's been a misunderstanding. No misunderstanding. You left me at an airport after stealing my company. We didn't steal anything. You signed willingly. His mask was slipping. Desperation replacing fake concern. Under duress, Brian. After manipulation. That's ridiculous. We spent $195,000 on that vacation. Money you didn't have. Money you expected to recover from company liquidation. Dad, you're being paranoid. I hung up. Tracy laughed. He just admitted financial motive. Recorded line. You recorded that? Standard procedure for elder exploitation cases. At 8:15 a.m., my phone started ringing. Mary's number. I let it go to voicemail. Branson's number. Voicemail. Lindsay's number. Voicemail. Jackie's number. Voicemail. Brian again. Voicemail. Unknown number. Probably one of them using someone else's phone. Voicemail. Aren't you going to listen to the messages? Tracy asked. Why? Evidence? We played them on speaker. Mary. Dad, there's been a huge misunderstanding. Call me immediately. Branson. Dad, whatever you think happened, we can explain everything. Lindsay. Uncle Matthew, please don't do anything rash. Family problems should stay in the family. Jackie. Matthew, you're making a mistake. Call Mary. Brian. Dad, I just got a call from some court clerk in Nevada. What the hell did you do? Tracy paused the playback. He got the call. Now what? Now they panic. At 9:30 a.m., Tracy's law office received a call. Morrison and Associates, this is Tracy. This is Brian Walsh. I believe you're representing my father. I am. There's been a family misunderstanding. Can we discuss this reasonably? Mr. Walsh, your father was abandoned at an airport after being manipulated into transferring $2.6 million. What's reasonable about that? We had flight complications. Different airlines, different destinations, same departure time. That's not complicated. That's coordinated. I want to speak to my father. Your father is my client. All communication goes through me. This is ridiculous. He's our father. Then you should have treated him like family instead of a mark. Brian hung up. Tracy grinned. He's scared. At 10:15 a.m., her phone rang again. Morrison and Associates. This is Mary Walsh Miller. I need to speak to Matthew Walsh immediately. I'm his legal counsel. You can speak to me. This is family business, not legal business. Elder exploitation is always legal business, Mrs. Miller. Nobody exploited anybody. We gave him an amazing vacation. $195,000 vacation designed to manipulate a grieving widower into signing over his life's work. That's not... We love our father. Interesting way to show love. Abandoning him at an airport. Mary's voice cracked. There were complications. No complications. Just greed. You don't understand our family dynamics. I understand elder abuse. And Mrs. Miller? What? Your father's assets are frozen until further notice. You can't do that. I just did. At 11 o'clock a.m., Branson called. This is Branson Walsh. I'm an attorney. Recent law school graduate, Tracy corrected. Failed the bar twice. How did you... Never mind. My father is making a serious mistake. Your father is protecting himself from financial predators. We're his children. Children don't abandon parents at airports. Look, we can work this out. Maybe Dad keeps a larger percentage. Maybe you get 0%. Duress invalidates contracts. You're tearing apart a family. Your family tore itself apart the moment you chose money over integrity. This is insane. This is consequences, Mr. Walsh. At 11:45 a.m., all three of them called simultaneously. Conference call from Walshcraft offices, probably huddled around the speakerphone I'd installed for client meetings. Dad, please pick up. We know you're there. We need to talk, Tracy answered. Matthew Walsh's legal counsel. Get off this call, Brian shouted. This is family business. Everything's family business until lawyers get involved, Tracy replied calmly. Dad, Mary's voice was crying now. Please talk to us. We made mistakes, Branson added, but we can fix this. The only thing you can fix is your behavior, Tracy said. The contract is void. On what grounds? Brian demanded. Duress, undue influence, elder exploitation, financial abuse. Those are serious accusations based on documented evidence, including group chat messages about celebration dinners without Grandpa. Silence. How did you get those messages? Mary whispered. Discovery process. Your phones will be subpoenaed. More silence. Dad, Branson tried one more time. Just talk to us, please. I took the phone from Tracy. This is business now, I said. Dad, I hung up. Tracy looked at me with something like pride. How do you feel? Different? Good or bad different? I thought about it. For the first time in 18 months, I felt something besides grief and loneliness. I felt powerful. Good different. Ready for phase 2? What's phase 2? We let them make it worse. Tuesday morning, 7 o'clock a.m., my phone rang 37 times before noon. I answered none of them. Tracy and I sat in Morrison and Associates' conference room, watching my children destroy themselves through increasingly desperate voicemails. The key to winning, Tracy explained, is letting them dig their own grave. How deep can they dig? Let's find out. Voicemail number 1. Brian, 7:15 a.m. Dad, you're being manipulated by that lawyer. She's charging you money we could be splitting as a family. Call me. Tracy laughed. Projection. Classic manipulation tactic. Voicemail number 5. Mary, 8:30 a.m. Daddy, please, I haven't slept in 2 days. We just wanted to help you retire comfortably. The lawyer is lying to you about our intentions. Notice how she switched to Daddy, Tracy observed. Emotional manipulation. Also, sleep deprivation admits guilt. Voicemail number 12. Branson, 9:45 a.m. Dad, I talked to my law professors. Your lawyer is making false claims. Duress requires proof of threats. Nobody threatened you. Did anybody threaten you, Uncle Matthew? I thought about it. Not directly. Indirect threats count. Emotional coercion, abandonment threats, loss of family relationships unless you comply. Voicemail number 18. Lindsay, 10:20 a.m. Uncle Matthew, Brian's having panic attacks. Mary can't eat. This legal thing is destroying everyone's health. Please stop hurting the family. She just admitted the family is suffering, Tracy noted. Excellent evidence for emotional distress damages. Voicemail number 23. Jackie, 11:10 a.m. Matthew, be reasonable. We invested $195,000 in that vacation. If the contract gets voided, we're out all that money. That's not fair to anyone. Tracy paused the playback. Did he just demand return on investment for elder abuse? Sounds like it. Beautiful. Keep playing. Voicemail number 28. Brian, 11:30 a.m. Dad, I need you to understand something. We liquidated assets to pay for Vegas. Mary mortgaged her house. Branson used his bar exam fund. If this deal falls through, we're financially ruined. Uncle Matthew, they just confessed to conspiracy and financial fraud. How? They spent money they didn't have, expecting to recover it through your company assets. That's embezzlement with intent. Voicemail number 33. Mary at 11:50 a.m. Daddy, what if we give you 40% instead of 5%? You keep almost half the company. We handle the work. Everybody wins. Negotiating from desperation, Tracy said. They've moved from 5% to 40% in 4 days. Fear-based bargaining. Voicemail number 37. Branson, 11:58 a.m. Dad, I'm being honest now. We fucked up. We made bad financial decisions expecting the Walshcraft money. If you don't help us, Brian loses his house. Mary loses her business. I can't pay student loans. Tracy stopped the playback. Did he just confess to criminal intent? What did he confess to exactly? Making financial commitments based on stealing your assets. That's premeditated fraud. At noon, the conference room phone rang. Morrison and Associates, this is Tracy. And this is Hamilton and Associates, a man's voice said. We represent the Walsh children in a family business matter. Tracy put the call on speaker. Which Walsh children? Brian, Mary, and Branson Walsh. We understand there's been a contract dispute. No dispute. Clear case of elder exploitation. Our clients maintain the contract was signed willingly after a $195,000 manipulation vacation and subsequent abandonment at an airport. Our clients deny any abandonment. Documented. 3 boarding passes left behind. Security camera footage. Group chat evidence. Silence from their lawyer. Mr. Morrison, our clients are prepared to negotiate. My client isn't, Tracy interrupted. The contract is void. Non-negotiable. Perhaps we could discuss a settlement? Settlement for what? Being stolen from by his own children? Our clients reject the characterization of theft. Your clients can reject gravity. Doesn't make it less real. Mrs. Walsh, let's be reasonable. I am being reasonable, reasonably protective of an exploited senior citizen. What would it take to resolve this amicably? Tracy looked at me. I shook my head. Full contract nullification. Complete asset restoration. Public apology. Public apology? Elder abuse deserves public accountability. That would destroy their reputations. They destroyed their father's trust. Fair trade. We'll need to consult with our clients. You do that. Tracy hung up. How do you think they'll respond? Badly, she said. Desperate people make stupid choices. At 2:30 p.m., they proved her right. Brian showed up at Morrison & Associates, without calling ahead, without an appointment. Security called Tracy from the lobby. Ma'am, there's a gentleman here demanding to see Matthew Walsh. Says he's his son. Send him up. You sure that's safe? I asked. Uncle Matthew, he's about to hand us everything we need. Brian burst into the conference room like a man drowning. Dad, thank God, I need to talk to you. My client doesn't need to talk to you, Tracy said. This is between family members. Family members don't exploit each other. Brian ignored her. Dad, please, just listen. I'm listening. We made mistakes, serious mistakes, but destroying us won't bring Mom back. The mention of Helen hit like a physical blow. Don't, I said quietly. Mom would want the family together. Helen would want you to have integrity. We can have integrity. We can fix this. How? Give us 6 months to rebuild. We'll pay you back every penny. With what money? We'll figure it out. Brian, you just confessed to stealing from me. We didn't steal. We invested in family time. You invested in manipulation. That's not... Dad, please. He was crying now. 38 years old, crying like a child. I already lost my family, I said. No, you haven't. We're still here. You left me at an airport. We made a mistake. You made a choice. Tracy stepped forward. Mr. Walsh, this conversation is being recorded. I don't care, Dad. You have to understand. I understand perfectly. Then help us, please. I looked at my oldest son, the boy I'd taught to use a saw, the teenager I'd hired for summer work, the man I'd paid $65,000 annually above market rate, the stranger who'd abandoned me at Gate B15. Actions have consequences, I said. What does that mean? It means you chose money over family. We chose family. We were trying to protect... Brian, he stopped talking. I need you to leave now. Dad, leave. Please, leave. Now. Tracy opened the conference room door. Security will escort you out. Brian looked back at me one last time. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm really, really sorry. I know. Does that mean... It means you're sorry. Nothing more. After he left, Tracy and I sat in silence. You okay? No, I said. But I'm right. That's what matters in court. Is this going to court? Uncle Matthew, after that performance, we just won before we even filed. She rewound the recording. Brian's voice, desperate and broken. We invested in family time expecting the Walshcraft money. Confession, Tracy said. Premeditation, intent to defraud. What happens now? Now they surrender. Completely. And if they don't, then they go to prison. I thought about that. My children, in orange jumpsuits. I don't want them in prison. They don't want to be in prison. That's why they'll surrender. Tracy was right. At 4:45 p.m., Hamilton & Associates called back. Our clients accept your terms. All terms? Contract nullification, complete asset restoration. What about the public apology? Long pause. Our clients request privacy for family healing. Family healing starts with accountability. They'll issue a written statement. Public statement. Yes, public. Read it to me. We, Brian Walsh, Mary Walsh Miller, and Branson Walsh, publicly apologize to our father, Matthew Walsh, for exploitation of his trust and abandonment during his time of grief. We acted from greed rather than love. We ask for his forgiveness while respecting his boundaries. Perfect, Tracy said. File it with the court clerk tomorrow. After hanging up, I felt empty. Not satisfied, not victorious, just empty. This is what winning feels like? I asked. This is what justice feels like, Tracy corrected. Winning would be having a family that loved you. Do I still have that? Uncle Matthew, you have me. She was right. Blood doesn't always mean family. Sometimes family means someone who shows up when you're abandoned at gate B15. Someone who fights for you without expecting anything in return. Someone who calls you family and means it. Wednesday morning brought the newspaper. Canada. Tribune, page 3. Nevada business owner wins elder abuse case against children. The article included their public apology, full names, full details. Tracy read it aloud over coffee. Local businessman Matthew Walsh, 64, successfully voided a $2.6 million asset transfer after proving his children manipulated him during a grief-induced vulnerable period. The Walsh children publicly apologized for exploitation of trust and abandonment in a case that legal experts call textbook elder financial abuse. How do you feel seeing it in print? Hollow, I said honestly. That's normal. Justice doesn't heal betrayal. It just stops the bleeding. My phone had 23 missed calls since 6 a.m., all from numbers I didn't recognize. Reporters, Tracy explained, elder abuse cases generate publicity. Families need to see consequences. I don't want to be a poster child. You already are. The question is whether your story helps other people. At 10:30 a.m., Tracy's law office received an unexpected visitor, Lindsay Walsh, Brian's wife, the woman who'd kissed my cheek and called me Uncle Matthew before disappearing to celebrate my financial ruin. I need to talk to Matthew Walsh. He's not taking visitors. Please, just 5 minutes. Tracy looked at me. I nodded. Lindsay entered the conference room like someone attending a funeral. Uncle Matthew, I wanted you to know I wasn't part of the planning. But you were part of the execution. I found out about their plan Sunday night, after the contract was signed, and said nothing. I was scared. They made me promise to keep quiet. Where was that loyalty when I was sitting alone at gate B15? She started crying. I wanted to call you. Brian threatened to divorce me if I interfered. So you chose your marriage over basic human decency? Yes, she whispered, and I hate myself for it. The honesty surprised me. What do you want, Lindsay? To apologize, really apologize, not the lawyer-written statement. I'm listening. What they did was evil, calculated. They planned everything for months. Months? Since Helen's funeral. Brian said you were vulnerable and financially liquid. Those were his exact words. Tracy took notes. They researched Vegas packages specifically designed for family bonding. Mary found articles about emotional priming for financial decisions. Branson studied elder exploitation law to avoid criminal charges. How long did they plan the abandonment? From the beginning, 3 separate flights, different destinations. They never intended to travel together. The group chat? They forgot to remove you from the family chat, then got drunk celebrating and posted without thinking. Were you drinking too? Yes, she met my eyes, and laughing. About abandoning me? About how easy it was, how naive you were. Each word hit like a physical blow. Lindsay, why are you telling me this? Because Brian's still planning to fight the contract nullification. He thinks you'll give in if we apply enough family pressure. What kind of pressure? They're going to use Helen's memory, guilt you about destroying what Mom built, make you feel responsible for breaking up the family. Tracy stopped taking notes. That's emotional terrorism. I know, Lindsay said. That's why I'm here. What do you want from me? I asked. Nothing. I'm leaving Brian, filing for divorce tomorrow. Because of this? Because I married someone who could abandon his grieving father at an airport for money. She stood to leave. Uncle Matthew, one more thing. Yes? They already spent most of the $195,000. On what? Brian's startup debt, Mary's business loans, Branson's student payments. So the vacation was purchased with money they didn't have, expecting to recover it from liquidating Walshcraft. When you voided the contract, they couldn't pay back the borrowed money. Tracy leaned forward. What happens to them financially? Brian loses his house next month. Mary's business is filing bankruptcy. Branson can't make loan payments. And that's my fault? I asked. That's what they'll claim. They'll say you destroyed 3 families out of spite. How many families did they destroy by abandoning me? 1, Lindsay said quietly. Yours. After she left, Tracy and I sat in silence. She just handed us everything, Tracy finally said. What do you mean? Premeditation, conspiracy, financial fraud, emotional terrorism. We could put them in prison for years. I don't want them in prison. Uncle Matthew, they planned this for months, since your wife's funeral. I know. They researched manipulation techniques, studied legal loopholes. I know. And they borrowed money expecting to steal yours. I know. And you still don't want justice? I thought about it, really thought about it. I want peace. Those aren't the same thing. For me, they are. Tracy studied my face. What does peace look like? No more phone calls, no more manipulation, no more fake family. You realize they'll keep trying? Not if I disappear. What do you mean? Walshcraft Industries is mine again. I can sell it. Move somewhere they can't find me. Run away? Start over? At 64? Helen and I always talked about Oregon. Mountains, clean air, small towns where nobody knows your business. You'd give up everything you built? I'd give up everything that reminds me of what I lost. Tracy nodded slowly. I understand. Would you help me? With what? Finding a new life. Uncle Matthew, you don't need to find a new life. What do I need to do? Build one. Here, with people who actually care about you. She was right, of course. She was always right. Just like Helen. Thursday evening, Tracy's apartment balcony. Canada stretched below us like a circuit boarded of lights. The mountains are invisible in darkness, but somehow still present. How long since you've just sat quietly? Tracy asked. Months, maybe years. She handed me coffee in a mug that read, World's Greatest Niece, a gift I'd sent her for law school graduation. Do you remember giving me this? Of course. You were the only one who invited me to the ceremony. Dad said family doesn't attend distant relatives' events. Your father never understood that family is a choice, not an obligation. Tracy curled up in her patio chair. Tell me about Helen. Why? Because you haven't mentioned her without pain since you arrived. Maybe it's time to remember joy. I thought about it. When did Helen stop being a person and become just grief? She laughed at terrible movies, made pancakes on Sunday mornings, sang off key in the shower. What else? She planted tomatoes every spring, even though she hated tomatoes. Said the garden needed color. That sounds like Helen. You remember her? I remember visiting when I was 8. Uncle Matthew and Aunt Helen with the magic garden. You built me a tree house. She taught me to braid friendship bracelets. She kept those bracelets in her jewelry box until she died. Really? Every single one you made. Tracy was quiet for a moment. What would she think about this situation? She'd be furious. At them or at you? Both. Them for betraying family, me for trusting them. Would she forgive them? Eventually. Helen forgave everyone eventually. Even people who hurt you? I thought about that. Really thought about it. She'd forgive them, but she wouldn't forget. And she definitely wouldn't trust them again. That sounds like wisdom. Helen was wise about people. I was wise about business. What's the difference? People lie. Wood doesn't. Tracy laughed. Maybe that's why you're such a good craftsman. Was a good craftsman. Are. Present tense. I don't know what tense I am anymore. We sat quietly. Canada hummed below us. Traffic, life, people going somewhere with purpose. Uncle Matthew, can I ask you something personal? Everything's personal now. Do you blame yourself for their choices? Yes. Why? I made it too easy. 40 years of yes. Never said no. Never made them earn anything. You love them. I enabled them. Those aren't the same thing. Aren't they? Tracy set down her coffee. When I needed money for law school, what did you do? Sent a check. For how much? $15,000. Did you ask for it back? No. Did you require anything in return? Just your graduation invitation? And I sent it because I wanted to share success with someone who'd invested in it. That's different. How? You earned it. So did Brian. So did Mary. So did Branson. They didn't earn the right to steal from me. No, but they earned your help when they legitimately needed it. What's the difference? Asking versus taking, gratitude versus entitlement, love versus manipulation. I thought about that. Brian asked for startup money. I gave it willingly. Right. Mary asked for marketing contracts. I provided them. Correct. Branson asked for school funding. I paid immediately. Exactly. But Walshcraft they just took. Without asking, without gratitude, through manipulation and abandonment. So the problem wasn't my generosity. The problem was their character. Tracy was right. Again. How did you get so wise at 28? Law school teaches you to separate facts from feelings. What are the facts here? You loved your children generously. They chose greed over gratitude. You protected yourself legally. They faced consequences appropriately. And the feelings? Betrayal hurts. Family loss is grief. Self-protection is healthy. Do the feelings matter? The feelings matter, but they don't change the facts. So what do I do now? You choose what kind of life you want. What are my options? Isolation, bitterness, running away. Those all sound terrible. Because they are. What else? I don't know. Uncle Matthew, what if you chose to build something new? Like what? Real family. People who show up. People who care. Where do I find people like that? Tracy smiled. You already found one. She was right. Blood doesn't make a family. Choice makes family. And sitting on a Canada balcony with coffee and conversation, I realized I'd already started choosing. 6 months later, Canada's Saturday Farmers Market. October morning, clear and crisp. I run a small booth now. Walsh Woodworks. Custom cutting boards, jewelry boxes, small furniture pieces. Nothing like the industrial operation Walshcraft had become. Just craftsmanship. Quality. Personal attention. Tracy helps on weekends, handling sales while I demonstrate techniques. Tell them about the dovetail joints, she suggests. An elderly woman examines a jewelry box I spent 3 weeks perfecting. This is beautiful work. How long have you been woodworking? 45 years, I say. Started in Nevada. Started over in Oregon. Started over? Sometimes you have to rebuild to remember who you are. She buys the jewelry box for her granddaughter. Family heirlooms should be made with love, she says. After she leaves, Tracy counts the morning's sales. $340. Enough for materials, booth rental, and a good dinner. Not bad for 4 hours' work. Not Walshcraft Industries money. Better than Walshcraft Industries money. How? Because this money comes with peace. She's right. Every sale feels clean, honest, earned through skill rather than manipulation. My phone buzzes. Text message from unknown number. Dad, this is Branson. I know you don't want contact, but I graduated the bar exam. Thought you'd want to know. Tracy reads over my shoulder. How do you feel about that? Proud, sad, confused. Want to respond? I don't know. Take your time. Healing isn't linear. 3 more text messages arrived during lunch. Brian. Dad, Lindsay said you're in Canada. I'm getting divorced. Lost the house. Could use advice. Mary. Daddy, I've been in the therapy, learning about boundaries and respect. No expectations, just wanted you to know I'm trying. Lindsay. Uncle Matthew filed the final divorce papers today. Thank you for showing me what integrity looks like. Popular guy today, Tracy observes. Popular now that they need something. Maybe, or maybe consequences taught them lessons. Which do you think it is? Does it matter? Either way, you get to choose how to respond. What would you do? I'd set boundaries, clear ones. That evening, I draft responses. To Branson, congratulations on passing the bar. Success earned through effort feels different than success stolen through manipulation. Build something honest. To Brian, divorce is painful. Loss is educational. Learn from consequences instead of repeating patterns. To Mary, therapy is good. Boundaries are healthy. Respect is earned through actions, not apologies. To Lindsay, integrity is always the right choice, even when it costs everything. Before sending, I read them to Tracy. Too harsh? Too kind? Perfect. Honest without cruelty. Clear without cutting doors completely closed. Should I leave doors open? Uncle Matthew, you get to decide what kind of relationship, if any, you want. What kind do I want? Only you know that. I think about it, really think about it. Helen's voice echoes. People don't always say what they mean. But sometimes they do. Sometimes consequences teach lessons that words never could. I want relationships based on respect rather than need, I finally say. That sounds healthy. And if they can't provide that, then you have your answer. I send the messages. Within minutes, responses arrive. Branson, thank you, I understand. Working on becoming someone who deserves respect. Mary, I accept your boundaries. Hope someday I can earn trust back. Brian, I messed up. I know that now. I will try to do better. Lindsay, thank you for everything. You saved my life by showing me the truth. How do those feel? Tracy asks. Like possibilities, not promises. Good distinction. As we close the market booth, Tracy asks, any regrets? About what? Setting boundaries. Choosing yourself over family obligation. No regrets about that. About anything? I regret trusting manipulation. I don't regret stopping it. Wisdom. Helen's wisdom. She always said boundaries aren't walls. What are they? Bridges to respect. We load the truck with unsold inventory, beautiful pieces that will find homes next weekend. Uncle Matthew, what's the most important thing you've learned? Silence is the most powerful response to manipulation. Explain. When someone tries to guilt you, argue back gives them power. Silence forces them to hear their own words. What else? Family is a choice, not an obligation. And real love doesn't require sacrifice of dignity. Tracy nods. Sounds like you've found peace. I've found better than peace. What's better than peace? Self-respect. We drive home through Canada streets lined with autumn colors. Everything changing. Everything begins again. At 64, I learned that starting over isn't failure, it's courage. What would you do if your family chose money over love? Would you choose dignity over obligation? Share your story below. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is break the silence. Because family should feel like love, not manipulation.